Better?
All right, so we're going to start here in 20 seconds. Yep, yeah, that looked good.
You're listening to Maximum Medicine Radio with host Doc Martin. Stay tuned in or call in. You won't want to miss what's happening next. How do you step into your maximum potential? How do you connect your spiritual drive with your physical path? Stick around as Doc Martin takes listeners on a journey through the seen and unseen, the accepted and the unbelievable. Get ready to meet the maximum you the world needs on Maximum Medicine Radio with Doc Martin.
Hi, everybody. I'm Doc Martin. We're on Maximum Medicine Radio. And usually you hear me talk about sort of very traditional approaches about healing or about maximum human potential. But one thing we haven't come at is the perspective of coming from the perspective of beauty, and beauty in the biggest sense. So I'm really happy to introduce Alise Marie today. She's joining me. She's an author of a recent book, The Beauty Witch's Secrets, Recipes and Rituals for the Modern Goddess. She is a holistic nutritionist. You're an actress also?
Yes.
And a purveyor of all things gorgeous. So what we're going to do today, and I'm going to count on Alise to bring us into that perspective, is to talk about beauty, because from me and the way I think about it, the things that are beautiful, the ways we feel beautiful, the beauty around us lifts us energetically, vibrationally, spiritually, and nothing can be better to be the maximum you. Alise, don't you think?
I absolutely agree. I couldn't have said it better, actually.
So what made you come up with, tell me how you evolved to become the beauty witch that you are, and what brought you to the place of writing this. This is a sumptuous book. It's lush, pictures are rich, her writing carries you. It's an experience in and of itself. So how did you get there?
Thank you for that. Well, I started concocting potions, as I like to call them, many moons ago. I had become aware as a teenager of natural beauty care and how that was better for your skin and for the environment and for animals. And so I started playing really when I was young, and that just evolved. I never stopped trying things, creating different concoctions, giving them to people to try, my mother, my friends. People were buying them from me. So it really evolved over decades. And for the longest time, I wasn't really doing anything, let's say, out in the world with it. It was just something that I had and I shared with people around me. And then I actually came back from shooting a film, and I was having a really intense bout of postpartum, let's say. I finished this huge project. It was a baby, and I was done. And now what do I do next? And so I started writing, and I was blogging, and the blogging was theoretically to lead to a book or ideally a television show. And we're not quite there yet. And oops, I just lost an earring, sorry. And so I really I came to the writing and the book as a way of release, but also I really, really wanted to share what I knew, what I know with people, because beauty is so healing. And the art, I'm going to call it an art, the act of taking care of yourself is so healing and so strengthening. And it just builds confidence in such a way, to me, that I don't know anything else that really does in quite the same way. And I wanted to share that. And there was just this kind of volcano erupting inside of me. There is always one of those, but there was this volcano to get it out and just say, you need to know about this. And so I did. And I'm not done. This is just the beginning.
Wonderful. So I want to take just a little bit of time, because you said something very important. And we don't do this enough in the world, our self-care, in so many arenas. And that ritual of honoring yourself, pampering yourself, taking time, it's recentering, it's self-love, all things we in our modern crazy world don't do enough of. And I can just, when you're talking, I can feel it. And I want to remind the listeners, and even those of you watching on Facebook Live, this is a call-in show. And on Facebook, you can type in the comments and Micah will get those comments to us. Ask Alise a question. She is a coach for this. She knows this. Ask her about how can you bring this to you. But anyway, I just wanted to make sure we had that underway. When you talk, Alise, I can feel the apothecary. I can feel you. And I don't have the depth of experience that you do, but I have a small stone mortar and pestle that I got on a trip in Mexico with special spices, and just the grinding, that ancient connection to herbs, to connection to spices, working with them, grinding them, feeling the smell, bringing them in with the oils. Tell me about that apothecary experience for you. I have a feeling it's lifetimes old.
Oh, I know it is. And I love that you've experienced that with cooking, because I do that with cooking as well. And it's a very similar ritual, really. You're making something that you're either ingesting or you're applying topically. But you're talking about the act of grinding and the act of preparing. It releases energy. And it's taking something, it really is a form of ritual, because it's taking an intention, a vision, a desire, something that you're feeling that you want to create, you want to put out into the world, and it's making it real. And then you're taking it a step further, because now you're either you're eating it, you're sharing it with people you love, you're putting it on your face, your body, your hair, you're taking care of yourself. And so, everybody loves to talk about manifestation. That's a big word, manifestation. But it's so key what you do on the physical plane. It can't just be intention, because when you talk about ritual and ancestry, people made sacrifices. People made very visceral sacrifices, and we are fortunately, we don't do that, but we have to ask ourselves, what am I willing to do for this to be? So if I want to be very healthy, what am I willing to do in the kitchen to get there? If I want to keep up my skin my whole life and well into my later years, what am I willing to put? What kind of energy am I willing to put in? And that energy comes back to you, and it absolutely creates a feeling of empowerment inside of you, and it creates, as I was saying before, just a confidence. And it's also the ritual unto itself is what I would call a sacred pause. Really, it's that moment where it's kind of like gardening. If you garden, and you're in the moment, and it almost becomes otherworldly, and it eases stress, and it just makes you feel so good that that's who you are for the rest of the day and the night. And I think that's wonderful. I think we neglect ourselves. I know we neglect ourselves. And I hate
Well,
that.
I want to just interject a little bit because I'm feeling into the energetics of that. And my work in the Maximum Medicine, founder of Maximum Medicine, and I recently wrote a book, Maximize Your Healing Power, Shamanic Techniques. When I think of the energetics, the intention engages your spiritual download and your upper chakras, but you have to put it out into the world. You have to bring it all the way through. And that's your ritual, where you're actually bringing that spiritual download into creative action. And then you're aligned, and then you're empowered, and then you're engaged and more fully alive. Don't you think?
I absolutely agree. I think it's a constant conversation, energetic conversation you're having with spirit, however you see spirit, whether you even want to call it that. I think you're having a constant exchange.
Right.
And that just keeps building and building and building that energy.
And I think we talk about, I'm actually going to do a show on the magic of manifestation in September. But the thing, we throw this word around and everybody says, you get your desire and get your feeling and get your intention. But as you said, if you're not willing to do the work, you have to bring it into physical form. You have to bring it into your human life. You have to walk the walk and not just talk the talk.
Oh, absolutely. You have to be willing, and you have to be willing to carry it through. You can't just do the work at this moment and then you're done. That's kind of the beauty of, let's say, candle magic, because you're lighting that candle day after day, and so you're reconnecting on the physical plane. And I'm certain of this, whatever your higher power is, however you relate to your higher power, God, goddess, the universe, the cosmos, whatever you want to call it, nature, it frowns on inaction. Spirit, any kind of higher power is not particularly pleased when you just want to give it to it and say, here, this is my wish. Can you do this for me? Okay, what are you going to put in?
I like that, because I think that's sometimes we get so eager to escape the trials and tribulations of the world that we go into prayer or meditation and turn it over, but then we sit there like donkeys in the road.
Yes, well put. Yes.
And no energy comes out of us, and without that, we're not directing our life force. So,
right. And then you're sort of working with this phantom of hope. Well, I'm just gonna trust, and you do have to trust, and you do have to have faith, but you have to put your energy in. There's no two ways about it. And so this brings it back to what we're doing in the kitchen, essentially, is that we are putting the energy in, and we are creating something, and that something then creates more energy.
Right.
And I just think it's such a beautiful thing. And people do seem to feel sometimes that we're in a fast-paced world. No one has time. There are a lot of conversations that will go along the lines of, I don't have time to make a potion, I don't have time to make dinner, I don't have time to. Well, you do, though. You do.
Yeah.
You know, even if it's as simple, it doesn't have to be complicated, but
Right.
you're saying you don't have time for you and for your health and your well-being. And I can't imagine not finding that time.
Right. So
Yeah.
we're going to move into a short break, but I just briefly want to remind everybody, if you want to call in, 1-800-930-2819, or type your comment on Facebook and the producers will pass it on to us. And when we're going to come back, we're going to talk about the value of aligning with heaven and earth, of seasonal rhythms, and the power we get from that. And Alise will share with us also her plant-powered beauty. And we'll be back in just a minute. Hi, I'm Doc Martin. We're back on Maximum Medicine, and I have Alise Marie with me. She is the beauty witch. I might call her the queen of beauty witches. And with her recent book, Beauty Witches Secrets, gorgeous compilation of body care, hair care, just recipes for treating yourself, for honoring yourself, all the things that I know bring good immunity. And I'm all about us living a better, healthier lives for ourselves. So Alise, I'm so glad you're here.
Oh, I'm so glad to be here. Thank you.
I love also your recognition of the value of linking up with the seasons, with natural forces, with cycles, with planets. Tell me first generally, and then specifically how you wove them into your book, or give an example.
Well, unfortunately, I feel that we are very removed from nature as a whole. And when we choose to align with the earth's rhythms, and that can be as simple as just eating with the seasons, getting outside in nature, connecting, fresh air, even if it's sometimes cold or damp or not exactly what you today. It's hot and humid here in New York City, but you're living with the cycle of the earth, and I think it's very, very, very important. And so that's sort of a basic thing that I think is good for anyone's health and well-being. But then if we take it a little step further and we start to align ourselves with the lunar cycles, and then maybe we take it even a step further if we're really interested and we align it with planetary rhythms, now you've opened up a whole nother world. And the beauty of all of that, yes, it can be a little bit complicated maybe, but again, you can start really simply with that. And the really true beauty of all of that is that you are then in the flow of what is. You are not trying so hard to change things. You're not, we can all complain about weather or anything like that, but the reality is that it's what's there. It's a full moon, it's the dead of winter, it's, well, Mercury's in retrograde. Okay, so let's align with that. Everything has its purpose. And let's harness the energy that's available. There are times when we need to be quieter. There are times that are more active. There are times that are much more fortuitous for concocting, let's say, skincare potions or any kind of body care, head to toe potions. There are times when you really can put a lot of power into something, and there are times when not as much. And so when you pay attention to those things, you're actually just really in the flow, and it's such a good thing. And even when things are a little crunchy, you know that there's a purpose, and you say, okay, let me use this. Retrogrades, planetary retrogrades are such a good example, because everyone says, oh, retrograde, oh no, Venus is retrograde. Does that mean, oh no, is my love life going to fall apart? Or, no, but this is not a time maybe where you want to go and get a new haircut, so you use it. And I think that's really important. And I just find it makes everything so much easier.
So I'm going to add to it, coming from my shamanic perspective. And we all would agree, at least intellectually, if we don't totally get it, that we as humans, especially in these westernized societies, could get better connection with nature and the cycles of the earth. Well, the shamans have always known that when we link up, not just to the earth, but to celestial energies. I mean, the Aborigines charted the future of the tribes with the stars. The Mayans had a connection to the Pleiades. That link up energetically linking up to the forces within the earth and within the stars, that is what generates our life force. So you're saying it perhaps a different way, different language, but I'm feeling that this is really the same. When you're linked up and you're tapped in and you're syncing in sync with the earth, the stars, you are maximizing your life force. And to bring that power to beauty and to self-care sounds really lush and delicious.
It is really lush and delicious. And you are absolutely tapping into your life force, which is not always the same. It's going to ebb and flow. It's going to get stronger. It's going to recede a bit. Sometimes there's a time to rest and a time to go full steam ahead. And so yes. And it is actually really luscious, because when you're approaching it just from a beauty perspective, which I don't really think you can separate the spiritual, but even if you're just going with it on kind of a surface level, you really, really are tapping into the very best of those times, of those moments, and you're able to create from that place, and you're able to put your magic into it, really, and sort of gear it how you want it to go.
Tell us, if you would, a little bit about one of your masks.
Okay. Well, I have a lot in this book, and also I've been writing about making your own beauty potions. I've been essentially writing recipes for quite a while now. So there are many, many, many different formulations. Really, it's depending on, first of all, what are your topical needs, what's going on with your skin, which I would always say, it's a living organism. It's always changing. What's going on with your face, because your face is projecting what's going on inside you. So if you have an outbreak of something, a blemish or a rash, or too much dryness, I would always encourage you to stop and look at what's going on in your life. What are your stresses? Are you not getting enough hydration or enough nutrients? Are you not absorbing those things? Because that's a whole nother story, absorption. Are you not sleeping well? Are you, what's happening? And yes, you're treating it topically, but you also need to look at it a little bit deeper. And so, for instance, when you're having, let's say, some sort of eruption, some sort of um, distress going on in your skin, or it could just be that it's the dead of summer and your skin feels like it needs extra cleansing, and you need to work at that a little bit harder. One of the really simple things I love to do is take a combination of activated charcoal and lavender. And I love Moroccan red clay very much, or I also like French green clay as well.
Oh my
And
gosh, that sounds wonderful.
yes, and it's such a quick little, it's a 3 ingredient. You add some liquid, you could just add a pure water, or you could add some floral water, lavender water, rose water, whatever your skin is really asking you for. I tend to go with rose because I tend to be more dry. So, and also I just love rose. So rose goes into everything. And so, and you just mix it together and just put it on. And the thing I really love about the ritual facial masks, whether they're a little bit more complicated, whether they're really simple, is that you take the time to sit with them on and just rest, just be. Maybe you need to rest and consider why you're having this outbreak in the first place. Maybe you need to journal a little bit while that's sitting there working its magic on your face. Maybe you need to just breathe. Maybe you don't need to do any of the above. Maybe you just listen to music and you unwind. I do know people who love to multitask and they like to check their emails with their facial masks on and make phone calls and this and that. It's a hectic world. Any way you can get your beauty treatments in, you do it. But I really love it. I love the ritual more than anything of putting on a face mask of your choice, whatever is your pleasure at that moment, whatever your needs are, putting on a hair mask, getting into a bath, a really great beautifying ritual bath, and just letting it all drink in, just taking that time for yourself. In fact, I think everyone should adopt that as at least as a Sunday night ritual or Sunday afternoon, whatever works.
So
maybe,
also
maybe sipping an herbal infusion while you're at it.
You also have tapped into the energies of some powerful deities and beings in your potions and your masks. Tell us about those, Freya, Hathor.
Oh, Freya.
Yeah, we'll talk about Freya. She's a Norse goddess, is that right?
She absolutely is. She's the Norse goddess of love and beauty. She's also a warrior.
I was feeling that warrior.
She's the warrior. She has quite an interesting little story, and I do give her a little intro in my book. I give all the beauty goddesses that I have spotlighted, put the spotlight on in my book, and they're just the ones that have come to me. Now, everyone has their deity that they connect with, and I would encourage anyone to really look into not only the goddesses I have talked about in my book, and maybe see which one resonates with you, what kind of draws you in. Maybe they all do. Maybe they do at different times. Or if there's someone that I don't have in here that you connect with, by all means, start to concoct based on what you would like to make as an offering to them, or what that is kind of their special ingredients or their forte. And I just have a great place in my heart for everyone in my book, but Freya's my favorite. In fact, there's a statue right there. You can't see her, but she's right there. And
so tell me about the feelings you get or what you value about the connection to the Hathors.
To Hathor? Oh, to Hathor. She's fun, isn't she? She's just fun. and she's sexy, and she's playful, and she's all about adornment. And I just love her. I just love her strength. I love all of their strengths. I mean, that's always what draws me in. And I also
what concoction did she inspire?
she inspired a potion that I've so creatively named Hathor's potion. And she, I take not just what is sacred to a particular goddess, but I also like to take in mind where on the globe they originate from, what that might be like in terms of climate, in terms of your day-to-day, what you're dealing with. And so I always associate her with summer and heat and remedying dryness and giving moisture. So I have frankincense and myrrh, which are incredible for your skin. I have them in her potion, but I also have a hibiscus, which is an amazing ancient Egyptian remedy for dehydration. So in fact, I have
Hibiscus water.
Hibiscus, me too, right here.
How about
Yours is as dark ruby as mine. I love it. And so I love to actually put that into the potion for your skin, as well as something that you would drink. So I kind of try to let them tell me a little bit of what they might like and what they would recommend. And the goddess potions in my book are absolutely the most complicated, and they are to some extent the most luxurious in terms of there are a lot of ingredients. They can be a little pricey, but once you have them, I have to say the ritual of creating these potions and what your home is going to smell like when you're doing this, and what you're going to feel like when you're utilizing these potions is just phenomenal. And it comes from them, it's really their gifts.
Wonderful. I love that. And I love the connections to the unseen world, to the forces. And that's a lot energetically, a lot like the power animals that shamans connect to.
Yes.
You bring in certain characteristics, and then you can build those energies in yourself, and use that to expand your horizon, so to speak. So
yes.
So we're going to take another short break, and when we come back, I want to talk about, you tapped in a lot to magic in this book, and so I want to make sure we talk about that when we come back, and we'll be right back. Hi, everybody. I'm Doc Martin. We're back. I'm with Alise Marie, author of this beautiful, beautiful book, Beauty Witches' Secrets, recipes, rituals for modern goddesses. But we're also going to make sure we include the wizards of our lives. So, Alise, let's talk briefly, because you tap into the energies of magic as well in your potions and your recipes. Tell me about magic for you. I have a feeling that it is not just an intellectual exercise for you.
No, definitely not. It's definitely something that has been with me quite some time. We'll just put it that way. And and I've connected with it in this lifetime in a way that I could only say is remembering. And nature really inspires a lot of that. And I get out into nature and I get guided. I really do. And so working with beauty potions, it's much like kitchen witchery. It's much like kitchen magic. It's that same concept of, you're making the potion, you're making the brew, you're stirring the cauldron. It's such a similar, it's exactly the same thing. And so that, you're putting in, oh, okay, I want to feel confident, and I want to draw some abundance to me, and all of these things. And you're choosing your ingredients, and you're choosing, hopefully you're choosing your great time in the lunar cycle, or a perfect day for it. I like to make potions on Friday because it's Venus's day, it's Freya's day, it's the day of beauty. Also, I was born on a Friday, so I feel a connection. So if I can, I do. And the moon isn't always going to be in the phase you need it to be when you need your magic. So you do your best and you work with it in whatever way you can. But you're essentially, you're conjuring something. And there's a whole list of, it's kind of extensive in my book, of all the different ingredients, and not only their practical properties that are good for your skin or your hair, but they're also the magical properties. And so I have developed recipes over a long time. I have taken a lot of care to put those things together. And so hopefully it's for whatever your needs are, whatever else, yeah, I would hope. And I do encourage people also to personalize things, and to try and create, and to substitute things. I absolutely love lavender, but I know people say, I don't like lavender. Okay, well, you can substitute something, but try to make sure that not only is it doing the same thing, let's say for your skin, but it's also doing the same thing magically. And so that's why I did go through a lot of care to prepare that pantry, so to speak, that list. And yeah, you're conjuring, and you're putting your magical intention in there, and then you're wearing it, aren't you? Or you're ingesting it, you're drinking it. There's potions, brews, and elixirs in here as well. And so I like both. I just love to, it's almost the same idea of layering scent. You have, maybe you have a spray, and you have a creme, and then you also have a perfume, and you have these layers of scent. Well, it's like layers of magic, really.
Mm. Is there a characteristic, or I should say perhaps even better word, is there a kingdom of magic that you resonate the best with?
I've studied a lot of different kingdoms, and I like to take from all of that knowledge and try to put it to practical use for the purposes of what I do. I would say, I definitely come from a European pagan witchcraft kind of background, but I also am very aware that while those herbs and those flowers and those resins are incredibly powerful, sometimes you need to pair them with things from other places and other methodologies. And now you've got a really powerful potion. I'm a huge fan of traditional Chinese medicine and Tibetan medicine, and Ayurveda, and all of these things are. And then sometimes you'll get the most potent berry from maybe South America or somewhere where, if you're just following a European tradition, you're not getting all of it. And we have access to all of these things, and the earth is providing all of those things, not indefinitely. There's a sustainability issue everywhere you turn, unfortunately, and I hope that changes at some point. I really do. But It's got to change. But, you know, you have access to all of these things. So why not put them together and get the most potent combination you can possibly get? When I was first getting into natural skincare, this was so long ago. And, you know, there wasn't a lot on the market. There wasn't a lot to choose from. And, you know, you had all these very lovely things that would never harm your skin. You had a nice chamomile face cream, or, you know, something very, very lovely, but it wasn't necessarily the most potent thing you could use. Let's say if you're trying to age your very best. You know, I don't, there's no such thing as anti-aging, nor should there be, but we all want to age our best. And anyone who tells you differently is telling you a story. So, you know, are those things the most potent for your keeping your skin firm, or keeping your fine lines fine and not getting too deep? No, they're not. So let's bring in a variety of cohorts and consorts that can help us.
I love that. The other thing I love that your book also included was attention to the wizards in our lives. So even though this is a book primarily for goddesses, there is a section for men. Tell me briefly about that.
The gentlemen rogues and the wise wizards. Oh, yeah, I love men. I really do. And, you know, we all have someone in our lives that's very important to us. It's a lover, it's a father, it's a friend, it's a brother, it's a son, it's, you know, a coworker, someone that that can benefit from these potions. And men need to take time for themselves too, and they need to have wellness rituals and beauty rituals. I don't know if we'll call it beauty rituals, but yes, they need care, and they need to tend to themselves. And so I've gathered some very specific potions for what I would say maybe more male specific needs, especially as you're growing older. But, you know, anything in the book can be used really by anybody if it speaks to you. And so that's a given. But yeah, I love that there's some special attention paid to the wizards. And you know, there's some interesting potency potions in there too they may want to check out.
For really aging well.
Yeah, yes. Because we love that.
Well, you know, the energy, we talk so much, the new age lingo, along with manifesting, is to bring back the feminine, the divine feminine. And I think that ritual of self-care can help temper the very inflammatory masculinity that sometimes our world has a lot of.
Oh, absolutely.
And bring and center back so we're not so full on warrior, go, bristly, inflammatory, prickly. So that ritual of self-care for men can really help temper things.
I would agree with
a
that.
world with a little temperance? We need a little temperance these days.
We absolutely do. And also to maybe bring them back a little bit to this understanding that warrior doesn't go into battle for just because, you know, they go in to protect, they go in to fight for what's right. They don't just go running around with, you know, swords and you know, just for the sake of running around with swords. I mean, you know, there's a point.
And the ritual of self-care, when aligned with the forces of nature, the seasons, the celestial energies, can realign, reground, restore, rejuvenate,
Absolutely.
regardless of your sex, regardless
Oh
of your
yeah,
gender.
it's strong stuff. It's really powerful stuff. And you know, there needs to be a balance within all of us. No matter who we are, no matter how we identify, there is needs to be a balance of masculine and feminine energies, really. And
Mhm.
you know, this creates a whole healthy person. And so I think it's really important. Pardon me. And I know we all know when we're out of balance. We just don't always know how to get back. And I truly believe in beauty and wellness rituals will always get you back there. Always. Every single time they will take you back to your balance. I like to work with elements in my work. I like to work with elements all the time. And one of the things I always try to do is balance my potions with solar and lunar energies, whether it's ingredients, whether it's I throw a crystal in there. I really try to balance them out because we need that. You know, I have a tendency to be a bit on the solar side, and I have to kind of remember sometimes to just balance that out, you know. And we all have that. I mean, we all have that in our natal charts. And, you know, regardless of what our sun sign is, we've got all this other activity that's kind of giving us a dominant element. And so I think it's very, very, very important to temper all of that, especially, you know, especially as I want to say just as women, but it's for men too. We're being asked, we're being called upon to be everything to everyone and do everything. And we have to recharge.
And bring our best selves forward.
Oh, absolutely. And put that best self into everything we do.
Right. I love everything we've talked about tonight. I love just the feel of dropping into that centered, quiet place of self-care and of pulling in the potency of the plant world and the elemental world.
Mm-hmm.
Your book is really, really scrumptious. Everybody, The Beauty Witch's Secrets by Alise Marie, please. It's gorgeous. And Alise, tell us your website so people can look at your shop.
Oh, it's thebeautywitch.com. And you can see lots of articles I've written there, blog posts. You can link to my monthly column that I do for Enchanted Living magazine, which is a lovely magazine also, just in general. And you can go to my atelier and buy some potions and sample them and check them out. So, and you can certainly write to me with any questions you have or anything you want to know. I'm always love to hear from people.
I love that you joined me tonight. Thank you so much. It was wonderful having you. Everybody, this is Alise Marie, the Beauty Witch, and I'm Doc Martin, and thank you guys for listening. And Alise, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. It was an absolute pleasure.
All right, good night.
Good night.
You've been listening to Maximum Medicine Radio with Doc Martin. Tune in next time while the doc talks health, spirituality, and the impact your beliefs have on every part of who you are, body and soul. Doc Martin unpacks the challenges we face as human beings and teaches callers to open the door between the scientific and the mystical. To learn more about Doc Martin and Maximum Medicine, visit www.sharonmartinmd.com.